What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Guard. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and follow on all platforms. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. Share it with a friend, spread the word. It really helps us out, and I thank you for it. Today's positive motivational message is acknowledge the people around you that you care for the most. Your friends, your family. Let them know that you care for them. Let them know how much you love them. Unfortunately, this past month, man, has just been brutal. I have had to witness several close friends deal with loss. And it's a harsh reminder that life is finite. And we only have so much time here. And we have so much time with the people around us. So take the time to acknowledge them, to let them know that you love them before it's too late. We all end up meeting our end at some point. But before that happens, let's all tell each other how much we love each other. Spread the love, acknowledge one another. And this is just one of those times where you get that harsh reminder. And I think it's important to tell everybody, to make that acknowledgement. And that's the message this week. So go out, reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member, tell them that you love them. That's the message this week. And I think it's pretty straightforward and simple, and it's a good one. With that, we'll go ahead and get into today's episode. It's episode 261 of Life's a Guard. Oh yeah, back at it after a week off. Took last week off to celebrate my birthday. Decided, just have a little break. We'll take the week off and enjoy the birthday weekend. No stress about doing a podcast. Just kind of having a break. And I told you guys a while back, I was thinking about every now and again taking a little break here and there, just to keep it fresh. And, you do this long enough, and it's not hard work. It's just, the monotony of doing it week after week after week and trying to come up with fresh things to talk about all the time. Plus, it just worked out perfectly that it was on my birthday weekend. And so, like I said, every now and again, going to take a little break. Last week was that break, but we're back at it here, fresh and ready to go. Suppose I can give you a little recap of my birthday weekend. Nothing too crazy, It was, it was pretty much 4 straight days of just getting fucked up. But, it was fun. Thursday night, it was my birthday, July 31st, on Thursday. It was the last Alive After 5 of the summer. It was at Hooligans was the bar that was hosting. So it was right there on Broadway. Love when they do Alive After 5 right there. My brother came out, several friends, cousin Aaron was out, so it was cool. It was a great, it just worked out perfectly that you had the street party. There was already people out that I wasn't even expecting to see in the first place. It's not like I had an invite list or anything. I told people where I was going to be. If people wanted to show up, cool. If not, I understand. Especially when it's on a Thursday. It's on a weekday. And honestly, way more people showed up than I would have thought. So that was really cool. And like I said, that event, it was just kind of the perfect setting to have a bunch of people around, and there's a lot going on. You got the live music, there's vendors, things like that. So yeah, that was a pretty simple way to celebrate my birthday. Thank you to everybody who came out and celebrated with me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you acknowledging me, and I acknowledge you for coming out and having a good time with me. Now, as the night progressed, it's my birthday after all. The drinks are flowing, and they're flowing pretty hard. We're doing plenty of shots, drinking plenty of beer, and, I end up pretty much not in a blackout. I've never blacked out from alcohol, but it's a little fuzzy, right? I remember my friend Brad gave me a ride home. Thank you to Brad for getting me home safe. Of course, I wasn't going to drive under that condition. Gave up my keys to the bartenders at the Crystal, and because I trust them, and they drove my car home, which was, appreciate that, and kudos to them for making sure I got home safe and whatnot. I'm going to splice in a picture here for you, and this is going to kind of give you an idea of how my night went. So yeah, took a little spill, fell down. As I said, I don't get blackout drunk, but sometimes I do get fall down drunk, and I was fall down drunk that night. Probably said some stupid shit. Probably did some stupid shit. That's okay. I typically, when I drink and I do or say stupid things, I am very embarrassed of myself. It's like, oh God, did I really do that? Did I really say that? Like, now I gotta go face these people. When it's your birthday, I feel like you get a little bit of a pass. As long as you're not doing anything harmful to anybody or being, like, absolutely rude. Being belligerent and, acting like a fool, these things kind of tend to happen. And I think you get a little bit of a pass when it's your birthday. And I think that's fair, and I give myself a little bit of a pass. I can let it wash over, so to say. Now, the rest of the weekend, because I took Friday off knowing I was going to get obliterated, which was nice. It was nice to have a 4-day weekend, 3-day weekend, where I didn't really have anything to do. There was no projects to do. There was nothing really going on in town. No vacation stuff, my housework had already been done. So I was like completely in the clear. I had nothing to do. I could just chill. It was chill weekend. And fucking pretty much just drank all weekend. Slept till... This is what my days consisted of last weekend. Sleep till noon, lay in bed, take a nap, just lay in bed till about 2 o'clock, take a nap at 2, then finally crawl out of bed around 3 o'clock and go down to the bar and start all over again. That was the routine. Did go to like a baseball game, so that was fun, Actually, that was a great game too. The game was awesome and the weather was perfect. So that was a cool time. What else happened? Anything? I'm trying to think if there was any concerts or any this is pretty much summing up that weekend. It's kind of a haze. It was a little bit blurry. But and after all that, had the fun, did all the shit. Awesome, cool. When you go 4 days of just nonstop partying, it tends to wear on you. And you start, you feel it. And I've already kind of been in the mindset, it's time to kind of reel that back a little bit and start taking my health a little bit more serious. Because this whole thing goes in waves. If you've been a long-time listener of this show, I've been on my pedestal about eating better and drinking less and working out. There's times when I'm like really, really into that and like headstrong, going in full force into that lifestyle. And then that plateaus and I fall off the cliff and it's just party, 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 So that it comes in waves. And like I said, if you listen to this show long enough, you've seen the waves come and go. Well, the time has come where I'm getting back on the way. I'm getting back in the gym. Gonna start working out more. I worked out 5 days this week. Mostly been doing like the bike, the stationary bike, because I want to get I want to get my heart rate going a little bit more. Just get the lungs going. My cardio is just shit. I hate cardio, but it's mostly about getting the heart pumping. Because I don't remember if I told I did when I had that swollen lymph node. I freaked out because I've never had it where it was like that, and I wasn't exuding any symptoms. So I was like, why am I what's going on here? And as I've mentioned before, I am a class A hypochondriac, which has also, been on full display this last week, where every little thing, my heel hurts, right? And I'm like, well, what the fuck is that all about? Like, why is that happening? Well, maybe because I work on my feet all day. Today it feels fine because I haven't been working all week. Funny that it starts hurting toward the end of the work week, but no, my brain goes to something else. What could this possibly be? I get any kind of weird ache. I had I still kind of have it, a little pain on my jaw here, and it doesn't feel like it could. My brain instantly goes to, oh, it's cancer. I'm fucking dying. It's cancer. Anytime I have a tooth. Which, this is just an example. I actually haven't had tooth pain in a very long time. Thank God, it's the worst pain ever. Or an ear pain or something. I'm like, oh, it's an infection. I'm fucking, something's seriously wrong. I'm going to die. That's how my brain works. And, when you're hungover for 4 days, you constantly think you're dying. Right? So, that was already I kind of went off on a tangent there. When my lymph node was swollen, I did go to the doctor, and I had pretty high blood pressure. And they told me to monitor it and stuff. I'm like, well, I should probably take that a little serious. Yeah? Maybe start eating a little bit better. I went to the grocery store, got a bunch of good groceries for me to make at lunchtime, and things I can cook here at home. Try and eat out a little less. And if I do eat out, try and eat something on the healthier side, maybe a little salad, some chicken breast, things like that. Just being a little bit more health conscious, right? So I'm back into that mode. In addition, I wouldn't mind not feeling like shit for this show that's coming up. By the way, nice little reminder for everybody out there. September 6th, Cutthroat is playing at Pub Station alongside Render Me Silent, Pine Box Radio, and Bloodless. You can get your tickets online, but I highly recommend that you get them through us, because they are $12 through us, and that's considerably cheaper than if you get them at the box office. I think at the box office they're $15 with all the fees and shit. So if you buy them from us, you're getting yourself a deal. So reach out to any of the band members. I believe Render Me Silent has tickets, and Pine Box has tickets too. So reach out to any of the bands. We can get you tickets. We'd love for you to come out and support some local music and have a good time. But yeah, so when you're up there on stage, you got to have a little bit of cardio. I'm up there singing, right? I don't want to gas out halfway through our set and just be like, just gasping for air in the middle of a song. And this has happened before. Because again, shitty cardio. And I don't want to just be stationary. I don't want to just be up there standing, singing, and not interacting with the crowd, moving around and hyping everybody up. That's what you got to do. Especially if you're the front man. You got to kind of keep the energy up. And I can't keep the energy up if I don't got any energy myself. So, again, eating, and, it's just good for my health in general. So, multiple good reasons to be doing all this. Yeah. I want to be able to perform well at this show. But, also, in addition, we are playing August 25th at Craft Local. So come join us for that one too. That's a Monday. Yeah, I just want to feel good for these shows and possibly maybe look good too. Look a little better. I've been implementing the weights. As I said, I've been doing the bike, just kind of doing the stationary bike, 15 minutes every day, and that's been good. But now I'm starting to like slowly integrate the weights into the exercise as well. I didn't go full force. I did the bike a couple days ago. Did some arm workouts and some shoulder workouts. Nothing crazy. Next day, did some bench press and did some legs. And usually I'll do like 6 sets of, or 6 different muscle workouts in one session. But I only did 2 these last few. Like I said, I'm slowly integrating. And by the way, sore as a motherfucker. My chest is burning. My arms are just now starting to feel better after the arm, the curl workout. But yeah, my chest is on fire. My chest is fucking destroyed. And that's what happens when you take all that time off. You get all this progress, and then you fuck it off, and it goes away, and now you got to start all over again. It sucks. But I do feel much better. This last week, compared to last weekend, this weekend, feel great. So that's a good little, it's nice to take care of yourself. It feels good. It makes you feel better about yourself, that you're taking care of yourself, And sometimes you forget that when you're not taking care of yourself. You forget how good it feels. So all you got to do is get in that routine. Just get back into a routine. And it all works out. It all works out. That was a lame joke. I apologize. See, drinking LaCroix. No beer today. Being healthy. Being health conscious. Now, I'm going to go have a couple beers after this. But not right now. We're not day drinking. We'll drink later. And it'll be fine. After I work out. So I'm certain all of you are curious about my thoughts on the King of the Hill revival. Came out last Monday, so it's been out a week. 10 episodes. And of course, I did watch all 10 episodes in one sitting. That's not true. I watched 8 episodes on Monday. The day it dropped, I watched 8 episodes. Had to fall asleep at some point, so I watched the last two, the next day. For anybody who hasn't seen it, there could possibly be spoilers here, because I'm going to just give it my true, honest takes and opinions, okay? I fucking love it. I love it. It's so good. The fact that I was very, very hesitant into what I might think of this. They're skipping ahead 7 or 8 years, They were dealing with a grown-up Bobby and all the kid characters are grown-ups now. Hank's older. Like, how am I going to react to an older Hank and Bill and Boomhauer? It's like they took a leap. They took a real risk in changing it this way for the diehards. And that risk paid off. It's an absolute swing and a home run. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you how excited I was to be able to watch brand new King of the Hill, and I'm gonna watch it all again. I've started watching it again, and then I kind of started watching something else. But I will be giving it a second watch because there are plenty of moments that had me like howling laughing. They did such a good job on this. Shout out to Mike Judge for nailing this. Like I said, I was a little worried. I was scared. I didn't want them to ruin what was one of my favorite shows, or what is my favorite show, my all-time favorite show. Like, look, there he is. That's Hank. I I'll even go as far as to say this season, this new revival season, is better than the last season of the original series. I wasn't really a huge fan of season 13. And yeah, this one blows it out of the water. Okay, so for real reviews here, okay? I thought the first couple episodes start off a little slowish. You know, you're kind of doing you're getting all your information about what's happened over the last 8 years. They're kind of just sprinkling in all that. I will say Peggy has way too many, like, in the beginning, they really want to remind you how much Peggy Hill fucking sucks. They hammer that nail home so hard, just how annoying and self-centered and what just a complete piece of shit Peggy Hill is. They make sure you remember. Now, toward the back half of the season, she gets a little better. Like, she's definitely more palatable, not quite as in your face. They're not, like, forcing that down your throat, like, just how much she sucks. I didn't know how I was going to feel about a grown-up Bobby. I love it. Like, it's great. And the fact that they're moving towards him being more of a main character now, which he was always kind of a main character back then, but in his adult life, and they're doing a lot more stuff with him and Hank, I love it. Hank is pretty much the same as he always was. Another thought I had was the animation. How was I going to feel about the new animation style? It's fine. Like, I really don't have any opinion one way or the other. I like the older animation better, but of course, you know, times change and things adapt. It's not bad. But Hank, the character of Hank, is pretty much the same and true to himself as it always was, besides the fact that he likes soccer now. But that makes sense, you know. He went over to Saudi Arabia, and that's like the only sport they really have over there, so it makes sense that he would fall in love with, like, he'd have to watch some kind of sports. Bill is the same as always. Boomhauer is a little bit different. In fact, Boomhauer, I've noticed in this season, is more, like, he's more involved in the storylines. Like, in the older, unless it was a storyline that was based around Boomhauer, very rarely was he really like an integral part of the story. He was kind of just there. He was either not even in the group, or if he was just kind of there. He really wasn't like an integral part of the story. This one, in this season, he is way more involved. Not that the plots align around him, but he plays an integral role in a lot of the stories through the season, which is different than the past. And I think it's because a lot of people, I mean, I think Mike Judge realizes how much people like Boomhauer, so he wants to include him more. It makes sense. Who are we missing? Dale. Okay, Dale. Here's a gripe I have, okay? And I hate saying this because rest in peace to the late Johnny Hardwick, who is the longtime voice of Dale and passed away in the middle of the creating of this season. So I hate to say this. I'm not a fan of the way Dale sounds. And I thought, okay, this is the different voice actor that's come in and is doing Dale. Unfortunately, I was incorrect. When I was listening to the Dale, like what Dale was, I'm listening to Dale and I'm not liking it. It was Johnny Hardwick doing the voice. Now, here's my issue with it. It's not about the way, like how Dale sounds. It's the delivery. It's the way he talks. It doesn't sound anything like Dale used to sound. I don't know if they did that on purpose, if there's like a reason behind it. They never explain it, but he talks very robotic. Like, he really talks like this. And I'm like, that's not Dale. That's not the way Dale talks. would anybody like some colloidal silver to, it's like, that's not, the delivery is throwing me off on that. That's the only, and of course, there's other voices that aren't the same. Khan's voice is different, and Ted Wasanasong's voice are different because they have to be voiced by Asian actors now, or else you'll get canceled. And they even make a joke about it in that, which is great. It's nice that they took a little jab at that. But, and I understand those voice changes. It's fair enough. I can deal with that. They didn't even try to make them sound like the originals. Like, whoever took over those acting roles didn't even try to do a similar voice, which was a little bit annoying for me. But that aside, the storylines are great, hilarious. There's, like I said, many times where I busted out laughing hysterically and had to rewind and watch again. There's some new characters that are just awesome, like the guy that watched over Hank's house, Brian Robinson is his name. Like that character a lot. I think that once we can explore him more into this world, it'll be great. I can't remember his name, but it's Bobby's sous chef at his restaurant. That guy's hilarious. I love that character. A grown-up Joseph is hilarious. Grown-up Connie is a little weird for me. I spent the last 15 years watching Connie as a child, and now, she's a developed woman, and they're, like, talking about sex and stuff like that. And she's kind of a freak, too. She's kind of, like, super kinky. And that's a little bit throwing me off, but, I understand they're adults now. It's funny to watch Bobby drinking and all that. Here's a mistake I found, and of course, I'm just going to be a snob about this and not let them live this down. They say that Bobby is 21 years old. Like, Bobby himself says it in the series, that he's 21 years old. So, as far as I remember, Bobby was at least 13 in the series. I even want to go as far as to say he was 14. But, for the sake of this, we'll say I know for a fact he was 13. So, if we're doing our math correct, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 8 years, okay? I'm still on the boat that it could have been 7 years because I think Bobby was actually 14 at the end of the series. But we're not going to go that far. So 8 years have passed, right? Bobby says he's 21, which means Hank would be somewhere around, and it's funny because Hank's retired now. Hank would be, I think Hank at the end of the series was like 38 or maybe even 40. So let's just say he's 40. As the oldest, he was 40. So he's 48 and retired. That seems a little off to me. And then the biggest blunder of them all, Hank's brother, Good Hank, is a teenager. Which, by my math, I'll go as far as to say that GH was like 1, maybe even 2 by the end of the series. But most likely just 1. Like 1 year old. Which would make him 9. But no, he's like 13 or something like that in this show. So they really fucked that part up. But other than that, those are my only small gripes. The series, like, it's incredible. It had like a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, audience score. They've already planned for a new season to come out after this. So excited. It should be coming out next year. I do hate that they dropped them all at once so that I didn't have time to, like, watch them slowly, and I don't have enough willpower to not just burn through them and binge watch them. I do kind of wish they would have scheduled them and, like, had them released throughout, because now it's like, okay, I burned through it all, and now I gotta wait a whole year for the next season. That part kind of sucks, but doesn't matter. We got new King of the Hill out. It's incredible. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Yeah, super fan, and I will be watching it again and again and again. And got my fucking Hank shirt on. This is the one from when he was playing the video game, called the episode's title is Grand Theft Arlen, but the game in the movie is Propane, as in, well, if I have to explain the joke to you, you probably shouldn't watch the show because it's yeah, so propane and propane accessories. Yeah, so there's my glowing review of the new season. It's fucking awesome. I love what they did. I was scared, but they exceeded my expectations. Thank you, Mike Judge. You did awesome. Kudos to you and the whole crew. And R.I.P. to Johnny Hardwick and Jonathan Joss, who they made little memoriams to in the show, which was nice. What else do we got going on? Okay, I gotta address this Sydney Sweeney shit that's going on, okay? For anybody who might not know, Sydney Sweeney was in a ad campaign for, was it Abercrombie and Fitch? Or no, was it American Eagle? Let me double check. I don't want to bash. Is Abercrombie and Fitch even a thing anymore? I think it was American Eagle. Sydney. Anyway, so she was in this ad campaign for, well, that's what I was looking at. Jeans ad. Okay. Yeah, American Eagle. Okay, just wanted to make sure. American Eagle did a jeans ad campaign where she's wearing denim. She's wearing a jean jacket and jeans. And they basically, the slogan or the hook of the campaign is Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And they're making a reference to genetics, right? Like, that's the joke, is she's wearing jeans, and hey, she also has some pretty good genes. Like, look at her, she's gorgeous. She has great genes. Well, of course, this could not go unseen from the liberal masses. Everybody, now all of a sudden, American Eagle they're a Nazi company, they're race baiting. What are you trying to say? Like, she has superior genes? That's not what the campaign was. The campaign doesn't say Sydney Sweeney has superior genes to minorities. That's not how the campaign went. But of course, because she's blonde hair, blue eyes, and don't get me wrong, I can kind of see why that, that seems like a little bit of a miss on their part. Like, yeah, that's always kind of been the thing, the blonde hair, blue eyes, Aryan bullshit. And to have that campaign kind of, like, I get the connection here, but I think it's ridiculous to assume that it was ever meant to be harmful or ever meant to be, like, a slight against anybody. If you are, unless you're a blind person, I don't think it's hard to see that Sydney Sweeney does, in fact, have great genetics. Like, she's gorgeous. That's not, like, I don't get how that is a bad thing to say. Like, you see a star athlete who is just like an absolute Adonis, you're going to say, oh, that guy has great genetics. He comes from good genes. You're not going to say he's superior. Like, they're not saying she has superior genes to anybody else. But I'm sure, for the most part, it's because we've been integrated over the last few years into having, these fat models and just, like, non-attractive people, blue hair, and, like, these bull dykes posing for fucking, it's like, they were being inclusive, and there's nothing wrong with inclusivity. I'm fine with it. But now that these companies are realizing, oh, maybe we should get attractive people to model our clothes, because that's just psychology. You see somebody attractive wearing something, you want to look like that. Bingo. That's just ad sales. That's sales 101. And now that they finally were like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should get an attractive person to be part of this campaign, to advertise our jeans. And we'll slap a little slogan on that. Now everybody is up in arms and freaking out. Oh my God! I think most people are just pissed off that it's not some fucking blue-haired they, them on the fucking cover of American Eagle. Right? Like, they're not... These people aren't advertising their clothes for those for them anyway, and those people probably don't shop there anyway. So what the fuck is the problem? Like, why is everybody freaking out about this? And the bigger problem of all this, they're not just going after American Eagle. They're going after her as if it was her idea to make that campaign that way. You know, as if she's the one that wrote it, or just because she's collecting a check and shows up and they're like, here, can you model in these jeans? Even if they told her what the campaign was, she's there collecting a check. Who gives a fuck? Why are you attacking her as if she has anything to do with this? Just because her face is on it doesn't mean that you could take a picture of anybody and advertise some crazy bullshit, and just because their face is on it doesn't mean that they, like, signed off on it necessarily. I'm sure her agent booked her a gig, and she didn't read the fine print. She's just like, yeah, I'll show up, I'll wear these jeans, I'll look hot as fuck, and I'll go home. And I'll cash it out at the bank. Collecting paychecks. You know what I mean? That's all it was. But now she's to blame for this. Fuck that. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. I think that's what pisses me off the most about it, is the fact that she's catching any flack for this. But also, hey, everybody, chill out. It's a fucking American Eagle ad, and you're treating it like it's the Third Reich. Get out of here. Again, I get the connection that people are making, but there's no way that was ever intended to be harmful or to be anything more than an ad campaign. Again, not a stretch to say, yeah, she does have good genetics. And they're not saying that she has superior they're not saying Sydney Sweeney has better genetics than anybody because she has blonde hair and blue eyes and is part of the Aryan race. That's our ad campaign. What? Like, that's how they read it. That's the way they're reading it. Man, okay. Just everything. We can't even have a jeans ad without it being connected to Nazis. But, hey, you guys know Hugo Boss is still a company, right? Hugo Boss was the company that made the Nazi uniforms, and they still are a company, but, we're going to attack American Eagle. While Hugo Boss is still fine being a company, and I have no problem with Hugo Boss being a company. They're different now than they were then. Volkswagen's a car company. That's what fucking Hitler drove around in, was a Volkswagen. So are we gonna get all freaked out at anybody that owns a Volkswagen? What the fuck? When does it end? Like, these crazy connections that these people make just to blow a lid over something that's so insignificant and is not targeting anybody. By the way, I feel like American Eagle might have been trying to stir the shit because I think their profit margin went up incredibly over this. Anytime there's some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Anytime there's this mass hysteria over something like this, people freak out, people get pissed, and then the other side, the opposite side, is going to react and go buy all that shit. Remember when Bud Light almost went out of fucking business? That was never going to happen, but their sales went down because of, some hysteria. Because right-wing people were like, I'm not buying Bud Light because they're, pushing all this transgender stuff. Now, the opposite, all these, all the libs are like, well, fuck American Eagle, they're a terrible company. And all the right are like, well, we're going to go buy their fucking jeans. The companies are always making the profit. No matter what side is bitching about it, no matter what side is freaking out. And by the way, after Bud Light almost went out of business, or after they like lost all that profit, they skyrocketed because they figured out, oh, we need to campaign a little bit differently. So whatever, is what it is. Yeah, just a ridiculous fucking situation, and I just had to address it because I think it's hilarious that people freak out about shit like this. They caught that dude from Anaconda who shot up that bar. That was crazy. That was the day after my birthday, I think. I want to say it was I think it was the day after my birthday that happened, because I didn't even know about it, because like I said, I was sleeping. I was just sleeping my day away, show up at the bar, and everybody's talking about it, and I'm like, what happened? Like, what's going on around here? Dude. Nuts. Like, that was a freaky situation. Some guy, I mean, not just some guy, he has a name, but I don't feel like, for one, I don't remember his name, and I don't want to give him any more publicity than he already has. But he, I guess, lived next to that bar and would frequent the bar pretty often. And they said he was a little strange, a little odd, had some like weird tendencies, little things about him that made him seem off. And from the sounds of it, some people aren't even surprised that this guy would do something like this. Like, he's a little bit mental. And if you look at the picture of him, yeah, like, you put a lineup of 20 people in a room and ask me, which one of these guys is gonna shoot up a bar? Which one of these guys looks most likely to commit a mass murder? That guy. You take one look at him, you look at his eyes, and you're like, oh, those are shark eyes. This guy is missing something upstairs. There's a picture of him, like, there's a video of him leaving the bar, and he's, like, pretty much naked. He's wearing, like, compression shorts, and that's it. Just, like, kind of, like, creepily crawling along the wall and, like, the stairs. Dude, just senseless. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and... They said he was dealing with, like, he had PTSD or some kind of, like, mental issues. That's pretty clear. You know, that seems pretty obvious. Anytime anybody can do something of this, you know, horrific, like do a horrific act like this, you got to have some screws loose, you know? And this guy clearly did. And he was on the loose for like a whole week, I guess, and more than a week, because I think they caught him yesterday. And if that would have happened on a Friday, yeah, pretty much a full week of a manhunt. That shit made national news. That's how fucking... In little old Anaconda, where there's maybe like, I don't know, 2,000 people, if that, maybe a little more. Crazy. And they found him near a bar. I don't remember. I think it was... Was it in Butte? Or... I can't remember where they found this guy. But it was next to a bar that they had already checked. So thank God they went back and checked it again. Get this guy off the streets. Get him in an institution. Put him in jail. Put a fucking needle in his arm. I don't know what the fuck you got to do. These people, you know, you do something that heinous, there's no coming back from that. And real fucking sad for the, you know, I my heart goes out to the victims. 10 a.m. is when it happened. Like, these people were probably just either having breakfast, or I'm sure some of them were workers, like just getting the day started, just opening up the bar. I guess there was like 7 other people that were injured in this. I could be off on that, but as far as I know, there were people that did not die that were injured, so hopefully they're recovering. And just thank God this guy got caught. It's just so heartbreaking, and especially when it happens in your own state. Like, granted, Anaconda's quite a ways down the road from Billings, but it still feels like a very, like, Montana is a pretty small state. I mean, it's a huge state, but population-wise, not so much. So, whenever something like that happens here, you feel it throughout the whole state. And just happy they caught that guy. That was a crazy situation, crazy story. as I had mentioned previously at the beginning of this episode, just a rough week. A lot of loss. A lot of people, more like a rough month, I would say. A lot of it's been in the last week, though. Just a real tough time for some people that are close to me. Our good friend Quentin, who I go do a trivia with him and his family. We've been doing it probably for the last year. And he hasn't made it out to a lot of them, especially lately, because he's been, he was dealing with cancer, and the chemotherapy was really, really hitting him hard. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple days ago due to the cancer, and my heart goes out to his family, to his kids, people I've gotten to know. I've known them for a very long time. This is my friend Eric, his mom's friends and family friends of theirs. And so I've had the opportunity to hang out with them, and we've watched hockey games together, and now we all do trivia every week. So I've gotten to know them pretty well over the last year. Really well, I should say, over the last year. So heart breaks for them. Our guitar player, Andrew, lost one of his best friends to cancer. Like, fuck cancer, man. Cancer. Fuck cancer. Like, god damn it, dude. So, Drew's friend Troy, just a few days before my birthday, passed away from cancer that he's been dealing with for quite a few years now. 36, man. He was 36. And, Q was only like 47. Like, it's just, man, especially to die so young like this. And then also our friend Natalie, who lost her daughter a few weeks back in a car accident, who was only 20. It's just heartbreaking, man. It crushes me. Sometimes it's hard. Like, I feel terrible for them and their families. I have a weird relationship with death. I too have felt loss many times, time and time again. We have a big family. We got a lot of friends, and I've buried my father. I've buried my uncle, who was like a father to me. I've buried my grandma, who was like a mom to me. Plenty of friends who have taken their own lives, family members who have taken their own lives. So I've become fairly numb to the thought of death. Obviously when it's real close to home, if it's somebody real close, it's devastating and, like, of course, just crushes. And I think for me, I hate seeing my friends and the people close to me hurt. Of course you hate to see, people passing away. That hurts. Now, in, like, Natalie's case, I never knew her daughter. So it's heartbreaking to know that happened. I don't have that connection there. My heart breaks for Natalie because that's the person I know. And actually, as soon as I'm done recording this, we're going down to a benefit at the Crystal to help with, like, funeral costs and things like that. So we're the band is donating a basket, and I'm gonna make some food to take down there. They're doing a little what do you call it? Where everybody brings food. Can't remember the name. Anyway, they're doing some of that. So yeah, trying just to help out a little bit and make everybody's tough time with this a little easier. I went to Q's funeral this weekend, and yeah, it's just, sometimes I feel like there's something wrong with me where I can't, like, do I have a lack of empathy? Like, I don't think I do, but it's like, why can't I feel more pain, I guess, in some of these situations? Pro pain. Like, hey, pro pain. I'm a pro at pain. It sure fucking seems like it. Like, I just can't. It's harder for me because I've already felt such loss, and that sucks. You know, like, let me tell you, that is not a good feeling. You don't want to be good at this. You don't want to have experienced so much pain and loss that you're numb to it and that it just seems like a fucking walk in the park. That is not a good feeling to have. Like, you want to be able to feel those things. And like I said, obviously when it's someone a little bit more close to home, like it's like my mom or something. God, I don't even want to say that. Yeah, that's when shit gets rough. And so I do understand and I do feel and I do empathize. I just look at myself in the mirror and I think, God, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you feel this? It's like even when my dad died, for real. Like, I felt, it was definitely earth-shattering, and it hit me, but I guess not in the way I thought it would, if that makes sense. Like, I really had to, like, dig deep and really, like, feel for it. Like, at first it just felt like another, this is just kind of the way things happen in our family, and here we go again. But I don't know. Clearly I need some fucking psychological help. Like, I need a therapist or something. Let's get on some beta help or something. But yeah, and this is why I say, reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, let them know. Especially with so many people now that I know now that have died so young. It's like, and then me with my hypochondriac, fucking brain, I always think I'm going to die young. So it's like, well, I better make sure everybody knows that I love them and stuff. Because God knows this fucking bump on my knee is going to kill me. God damn. That is a world of anxiety that I don't wish upon anybody. So, yeah. Anyway, just let people know. Let them know that you care about them, you're thinking about them, and it's important. It is important. Moving on, one last bit that I want to get out there, and we'll leave it on a lighter note, considering that last little bit was on the more doom and gloom side. This is a hot take, okay? I was thinking about this a while back, and I thought it would be interesting to bring up here on the podcast. Now, again, hot take coming in fast. This might not, people might disagree with this, I might get a little flack for this one, and hey, maybe I'm looking at it all wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I am of the belief that emotional support animals are purely for pussies. Like, it sounds so mean. It sounds so mean to say it like that. But for real, like, if you are so emotionally distraught and like you are so like you're so emotionally distraught that you need a pet to be by your side at all times, or else you're gonna fucking lose it. Like, I can't be by my, like, I can't. You just fall to pieces. People fall to pieces if they don't have their fucking cat with them, and people are having to bring them to public places all the time. Now, let me make something very clear before I start getting all the hate, okay? There is a very distinct difference between a service animal and a emotional support animal. If you have if you have a seeing eye dog, or if you're prone to seizures and like because dogs are good for, like, helping with, I mean, they can't, like, stop you from having a seizure, but, like, at your home, if you're by yourself, like, dogs are fucking smart. Service animal, completely different story. I have no issue whatsoever with you having a service animal. But if your service animal is servicing your feelings, hey, have you ever stopped and just thought about, maybe don't be so fucking, like, instead of having this animal to help your anxiety, maybe just don't be a bitch, right? Have you ever just thought about, like, not being a bitch? That can probably work too. You don't need a fucking parrot to ease your mind. I'm just not the same without my iguana. That is even more so. Dogs and cats, I can, and by the way, also having an animal and, like, loving it and having it so you have companionship is not the same thing as an emotional support animal. An emotional support animal is where you have to, like, actually get it licensed so that you're able to bring it into the bar with you. And that's just nuts. Like, that's crazy to me. I get that animals can help you feel better and like, they are emotionally supportive, but if you have to go so far as to get, like, certification so that you can take them everywhere with you, that's being a bitch. Just saying. If you can't walk out the door without your dog because you're gonna freak the fuck out, just stay home. Like, you're being a little bitch. You need this dog to cure your bitchiness. So that's my hot take that we're going to close this episode out on. Is people who... I kind of said, there's nothing wrong with the animals. You know, they're just there. And could you imagine being the pet of someone who needs them as emotional support? Dude, that's, like, animal abuse, in my opinion. Like, now, not only has this dog, or this cat, or whatever animal, not only has this animal been assigned, like, you've assigned this animal to you, but now its life is that it has to support your emotions. It has to listen to you bitch and moan and cry and be anxious all the fucking time. You are, like, that's what you're putting that damn animal to? This animal's just like your therapist? That poor animal. Like I said, that is animal abuse. What are we doing? God, if only you could, like, jump into the mind of a dog that is an emotional support animal and just be like, they're probably just rolling their eyes like, God, here we go again. Like, this guy's crying about this thing again? Like, geez, how many times today? These poor animals, man. So that's even a better take, is that emotional support animals are actually being abused by their owners because they have to listen to them bitch and moan all day. But yeah, nothing against the animals. Love the animals. Great. I feel so bad for them. The owners, however, suck it up. You know? Just get with the program. You're being a little bitch. That's all I'm saying. And that's what we're going to close this episode on. We like to be positive here, but we're just going to... And by the way, just so everybody's aware, I am joking. That was a joke. I don't give a fuck if you have an animal. I do think it's a little... whatever. There's some truth to it, but for the most part, it's a joke. So settle the fuck down. We want to end on a lighthearted note, okay? There's been too much tragedy. Let's laugh a little bit. All right, we're wrapping it up. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you once again for joining. Working on getting some guests. You know, that's more of a me thing than it is anything else. I'm the one with the hang up getting the guests. It'll happen. We'll get them in here. Football season's right around the corner. Preseason just started, which is awesome. Gonna have plenty of stuff to talk about with people on that. Again, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family. Let them know you love them. That's the message of the week. So, and take care of yourselves, you know? Work out. Take care of your mental. Because clearly I got some shit going on up here too. So make sure you take care of that. And I need to take care of that. But most importantly, don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it.
Just gotta keep on keeping on.
Why don't you talk in the microphone? I got a back right here. Back of my. Life's a garden, dig